Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and welcome to the Irish Thoroughbred Breeders National Breeding and Racing Awards. Can you please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, Leo Powell.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, can you believe it? Almost 11 months to the day since we gathered at fairly short notice, finally, to celebrate in person our successes on the world stage. We are back in the splendid surrounds of the heritage of Killenard for the Irish Thoroughbred Breeders Association Annual Awards. Welcome, one and all. It's my great pleasure and enormous honour to be standing here in front of you as we prepare to acknowledge some wonderful achievements by breeders in Ireland and to pay tribute to a number of people who have made a contribution that goes beyond the call of duty. Last year proved one thing: you cannot beat the feeling of being together in one place. While Zoom and Teams are necessary tools, of course, to stay in touch, the warmth of shaking hands, saying well done, and cheering on our winners cannot be replaced by technology. It's become something of a cliche to say that the quality of our winners is exceptional, and maybe I'm becoming softer as I grow older, but this year we have some special moments to savour and even more special people to meet. As I said last year, this is a night to rejoice, to remember, celebrate, and to enjoy the best of our racing and breeding industry. One thing I can say for sure is that we have rarely, if ever, had such an official acknowledgement of the importance of what we do, especially if the measure is that of the presence of so many esteemed members of the Houses of the Oireachtas, our national parliament. They are among many distinguished guests, and it is heartening to see that our largely rural-based activity is so generously acknowledged. To the Clown Corla, Sean O'Farrell and his wife Mary Claire, to our special guest, Minister Charlie McConalogue, who is responsible for agriculture, food and the marine, to Ministers Pippa Hackett and Martin Hayden, to Teachtadála, James O'Connor, and Senator Fiona O'Loughlin, I offer a warm welcome and thank you for your presence here this evening. We have a number of guests who have travelled from many parts of the world to be with us, and I can assure you that your efforts to be with us on such a night of celebration is greatly appreciated. They say that the camera puts kilos on us. Well, that's my excuse, though I did find that the tuxedo fitted a little better this year than last. I hope it was the same for you. Post-pandemic is still a time of trouble and strife in the world, and even on a night such as this, it is always worth mentioning that some people may not be in such an upbeat mood. We are a family within the worlds of racing and breeding, and in the catchphrase of the moment from the Hay campaign, don't forget to reach out and ask your family, friends, colleagues, and even strangers, how are you? Our opening sequence provides a taste of what's to come, and by the evening's end, we will have honoured 14 award winners. Coincidentally, that's the same number of nominations Ireland has garnered for the Oscars. And these are our Oscars, BAFTAs, Emmys, and Grammys all rolled into one. Tonight on social media, feel free to share these great moments with the world. Indeed, after dinner, we will be opening the evening up to a global audience, and the awards ceremony will be streamed live. If you want to share this information with anyone, just tell them to go to the website, ITBA, itba.ie, and they will find a link. We will go live at 10 o'clock sharp, and you can also share highlights on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or wherever you engage with people, and the handle we would encourage you to use is #ITBAwinners. Other than for these essential uses, may I ask you now to put your mobile phones on silent. Regulars here will be familiar with my annual plea, and no, it's not money for the Fund Leo Powell campaign, This is a very special night for each and every one of our award recipients. It seems strange to have to ask this, but please honour them with the courtesy of your full attention later. There will be ample time to talk and party afterwards, and I would just ask you to put yourself in their shoes, and what would you expect from the audience if you were one of the lucky recipients? I'm the one who gets to stand up here and be in the spotlight for the evening, but my work is easy compared to the efforts of a group of people who toil in the background and make it happen. They are the unsung heroes. The ITBA National Events Committee is like a small chamber music group, taking their lead from their musical director, Joe Foley. He is the one who gets the best tune out of the players, and those talented people are Maurice Maloney, Simon Kearns, Joey Cullen, Sally Ann Grassick, Brendan McCardle, and Wendy O'Leary. Please give them a well-earned Bula Boss. If I could be so bold as to single one person out, and I know his fellow team members would agree with me, my great work colleague and friend, just as he is a friend to almost every one of you in the room, Brendan McCardle has played yet another blinder. Take a second bow, Brendan. A final tribute for now has to be paid to a trio who work tirelessly for the good of us all. This year marks a significant changing of the guard at the ITBA, but we are in the safe hands of CEO Una Tormey, Membership Coordinator Danielle Devaney, and Education Coordinator Hannah Marks. This girl power team continued the Trojan work on your behalf at local, national, and international level, and for now, they deserve your appreciation. The girl power team continues now with another voice, and it is the voice of the bloodstock industry. Please welcome on stage the Irish Thoroughbred Breeders Association Chair, Cathy Grassick.
Banachtaí agus 100 míle fáilte le gach duine go dtí ITBA Awards. An ceann comhair of Fariel, Minister McConaughey, Minister Hackett, Minister Hayden, Princess Zahra Aga Khan, Princess Salima Aga Khan, TDs, Senators, and respected colleagues. On behalf of the Irish Thoroughbred Breeders Association and its council members, welcome to our annual Breeding and Racing Awards. We are here tonight to recognise the outstanding achievements of Irish-bred horses, both flat and national hunt in 2022. Before I go any further, I would like to take a moment to show my appreciation for Shane O'Dwyer and Kerry Ryan, who are here with us tonight. They have both played a huge part in the ITBA over the past number of years, and we are all extremely grateful for their hard work and dedication. It is a sign of huge respect and esteem that the bloodstock industry in Ireland has held to see such an incredible turnout here this evening. This is our opportunity to celebrate the outstanding success of the Irish Thoroughbred on the global stage. It is wonderful to see Irish breeders and Irish-bred horses recognised as world leaders in such a competitive industry. The amazing popularity of the new IRE incentive, the industry's very own guaranteed Irish scheme, only goes to enhance this image. This incentive was devised in collaboration with HRI, and we thank Susanna Eade, their Chief Executive, who's here with us this evening, and HRI for their continued support of the breeding industry. The IRE incentive also assists Irish Thoroughbred marketing in their excellent work to attract even more Irish buyers to Irish sales in search of the next Persian Force or Sir Gerhard. We can be proud as we watch the footage of tonight's award winners of the hard work and dedication of our breeders and the many people working in this industry who've contributed to this success. Tonight is also an opportunity to acknowledge those who have made a lifelong contribution to Irish thoroughbred breeding and a testament to the nearly 30,000 wonderful people who we have working in our industry. The ITBA is an all-island organisation, and there are thoroughbred breeders in every county in Ireland, providing investment and employment in many disadvantaged rural areas and contributing a significant amount to the exchequer annually. It's an impressive statistic for a small island on the edge of Europe that we are the largest breeder on the continent and the third largest producer in the world. This is one of the many reasons that some of the world's most successful breeders choose to base their operations in Ireland. A great example of the work of the ITBA coming to fruition is the announcement earlier this year by Minister McConalogue of the inclusion of equine farming in TAMS. The Minister, along with his colleagues Minister Hackett and Minister Hayden, and the Department of Agriculture, listened to the representative bodies of this industry and other equine stakeholders and delivered an excellent outcome. Despite so many positive stories and results, we as breeders and an association cannot afford to rest on our laurels and need to continue to push forward and work to deal with the issues facing Irish breeders at national, European and international levels. We have many more pressing issues on the horizon, such as the provision of work visas to the breeding industry, the funding for the development of the Irish Equine Centre, sustainability, welfare, gaining access to the Brexit Adjustment Reserve Fund, and working to remove VAT on temporary imports of breeding stock to Ireland. We pledge to continue to represent the breeders of Ireland effectively on all fronts. The association has a comprehensive educational programme and encourages breeders to develop a culture of lifelong learning, both for themselves and their members of their team. Already this year, we've had a very successful breeding season preparation seminar. I look forward to many more exciting and beneficial courses throughout the year. It is important that we continue to invest in the future industry leaders and young breeders and to provide them with every opportunity to succeed at the highest level. The ITBA Next Generation, under the chairmanship of Orla Dunworth, have formed a vibrant committee of 12 passionate and enthusiastic young breeders. And already this year, they've held their first successful event, a trip to visit Coolmore and Castle Hyde studs, and we look forward to seeing so much more from them in the coming year. I wish to thank our events committee under the chairmanship of Joe Foley for the outstanding work they do in organising this evening's awards. They're ably assisted by ITBA Chief Executive Una Tormey and her team of Daniel Devaney and Hannah Marks. And I would like to thank them all for their hard work they do, not just for the awards, but throughout the year. A special thanks must also go to our veterinary consultant, Des Layden, together with Joe Hernan, Chairman of the European Breeders' Federation, for their continued effort around the high health breeding status concept. Thank you also to the ITBA Council members who are so dedicated and put in so much of their time on a completely voluntary basis for the good of Irish breeders and Irish breeding. Thank you to our compere for this evening, the ever-charming Mr. Leo Powell, and also importantly, the awards would not be possible without our many wonderful sponsors, and I thank them all for their continued support. On a personal note, I would also like to thank all of those who've supported and mentored me on my journey through the ITBA to become chairman. There are far too many of you to mention, but you know who you are, and I hope you know how much you're all appreciated. Thank you for attending tonight's celebration, and on behalf of the ITBA, I hope you have a very enjoyable evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cathy. Ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Cathy, on behalf of everyone here and of the greater bloodstock sector. Thank you for your work to date, and I wish you well for the year ahead. I hope I can use that quote about me on my website as well. So thank you for that. Now we have an opportunity to have a few words with a man who has his finger on the pulse when it comes to matters of concern for breeders. It's my great pleasure to call on the Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine to join me on stage. Please welcome Minister Charlie McConalogue. very welcome. I hope this is working. Yeah, you're very welcome, Minister. I hope you're enjoying your first visit to the ITBA Awards.
I certainly am. It's great to be here, and such a wonderful night. And I think the spirit and enjoyment we've all got from the last few months is very visible here tonight again at being able to be together. And it's wonderful to join with so many from across the country who backbone this industry, which we are all so proud of and which takes its place with any other country in the world. So it's great to be here. Thanks, Leo.
Tell me a little bit about your own interest, if indeed you have any, in either the racing or the greater equestrian family.
Well, I've always had an interest in it from afar. I grew up in North Donegal, so in a cattle and sheep and suckler farm, also in a strong fishing community. And there wasn't as much of an equine industry, but it has grown significantly in the last number of years. And of course, we have our jockey, Dylan Moneygall Brown, who we're very proud of as well, who's cutting a real dash in the last couple of years. So I've enjoyed watching it from a young age, being fascinated by it from afar, and also going racing at different times over the years. But my expertise in it is not what it would be in other areas of agriculture, but I have to say I've always been very strongly guided. Whenever I was spokesperson on agriculture, food and the marine in opposition, I had Jackie Cahill, the current chair of the Oireachtas Agriculture Committee, with me, and also Senator Paul Daly, chairperson of Kilbengan Racecourses. So they kept me steered and between the ditches. And now I have to say, in the department, I have two ministers, Minister of State Pippa Hackett and Minister of State Martin Hayden, both who are very across the sector and make sure that I strongly support it. But of course, I'm so conscious that the wonderful sector that we have, which competes with anywhere else in the world, it has been built up over the years by the talent we have, the traditional horsemanship and skill that we have in this country, but also that consistency of policy and support from government level. And that's something I'm absolutely, and the government is absolutely committed to continuing to work with the sector in combination.
I mean, if I was an observer, the fact that we have three senior people in the department here tonight would seem to indicate to any observer that the vital role that the industry plays in the farming life and the general economic life of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to recognise the Cion Corla, who's here this evening as well as James O'Connor, again, a very strong advocate on behalf of the sector, and Senator Fiona O'Loughlin, who always is advocating strongly on behalf of the sector as well. But it is a reflection of how important it is, and rightly so, because the most recent report I think we have is the Horse Racing Ireland report done by Deloitte back in 2016, which indicated the overall value of the industry to the Irish economy at being €1.84 billion, with just under 30,000 people employed. And that's right across the country in all arts and parts and in all parishes from Donegal to Wexford. So rightly so, it gets the support, and it's something we are very committed to continuing.
And in terms of looking forward, I mean, have you considered, would you have any advice for breeders in the country, anything that they should look out for, anything maybe even that, you know, it could be coming down the line for them?
Well, I know there's been challenges there, which, you know, Brexit in particular, which we're continuing to work with the sector to navigate our way through and try and ensure that the seamless engagement between Britain and the rest of Europe, but particularly between ourselves and Britain, that can be restored. Of course, the decision to reinstate TAMS, I think, was an important one. And that's going to lead to significant investment. And I think there's a lot of pent-up demand there as well, and it was an important step forward. But I think going forward, it's about continuing to excel at what we're doing, continuing to stay at the cutting edge, continuing to innovate, and improve all of the time. And I know that's what's made the sector and the industry great in this country, and that's the vein in which it will continue.
Well, look, I thank you very much for your attendance tonight. We really appreciate the fact that you're here. We appreciate the attendance of your colleagues from the Houses of the Oireachtas. And for the moment, please give our Minister a warm round of applause. And I'll ask you. Now, I'm also going to ask the Minister to stay on stage for a few moments, just so that we can justify that old adage about there being no such thing as a free dinner. Since we last gathered here, the ITBA has undergone some fundamental changes in terms of personnel. Previously, we had celebrated our beloved Regina Byrne going on to take the reins at the Association of Irish Racehorse Owners, and how special it is to see Regina here tonight. Now, as Cathy mentioned earlier, we have also said adieu to Shane O'Dwyer and Kerry Ryan, which only recalls for me the great Oscar Wilde quote that to lose one may be regarded as a misfortune, to lose two looks like carelessness. Well, it's certainly not the latter, because both have left to pursue other worthy interests, are still very much part of the ITBA family, and they remain great friends to us all. I won't go on because we would be here until midnight extolling their virtues. Suffice to say that both Shane and Kerry played an incalculable part in putting the ITBA at the heart of the industry, and we will enjoy for a long time to come the fruits of their labour. So for now, I will just ask Shane and Kerry to join us on stage and receive a surprise presentation from the Minister on behalf of the Awards Committee, and they are given with our love, best wishes and grateful thanks. I might get a thump later if I don't get it now. I have to say that was a very well-kept secret. I think most people, even on the committee, didn't know this was happening, but no, it's fantastic. It's well-deserved. Kerry and Shane and Regina were a powerful trio. The trio we have now, definitely big shoes to fill, but doing so impeccably well. And our thanks to the Minister for staying and presenting these. Ladies and gentlemen, Shane O'Dwyer and Kerry Ryan. Your Highnesses, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good night, or even good morning to you wherever you are in the world. Whether you are here in a packed heritage resort at the heart of Ireland, or throughout the island, in Europe, or elsewhere in the world for a live stream of the Irish Thoroughbred Breeders Association Awards for 2022, I offer you a Céad Míle Fáilte, 100,000 welcomes. We have an exciting 90 minutes or so ahead of us as we celebrate the best of 2022 with 14 special awards which are exclusively designed for us by the genius that is Ronan Halpin. Now, if we could have your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, we really would appreciate it just for this part of the evening. Before we start, I have two thanks to offer, and they are to our interlude musician, Anthony Ward, who's left the stage, and to the entire team here at the hotel who have cooked and served us with some outstanding fare. Thank you on all of our behalf. With the assistance now of Danielle Devaney, who has joined me on stage, it's on with the show. Just as we did last time, we start off tonight with a great story. Firstly, I would like to invite Sharon O'Regan from Weatherby's to join us for this presentation. Sharon is here with her husband Shane and guests, and she leads a team in Naas who provide our industry with a number of essential services. For dinosaurs such as myself, it is such a pleasure to watch young people come into the business, make inroads, and reap the rewards of their efforts. The next generation part of the ITBA encourages these young people, creates an environment for them to share ideas, and provides a means to get to know each other. The winner of this year's New Generation Award is a name to remember if you don't know it already. Here is a man going places. Would you please give your best reception to Micheál Connahan? I can tell you the industry has a bright future with talent such as Micheál involved, and we offer him our best wishes for the future. Of course, our thanks to Sharon and Weatherby's for their contribution, and please pass on our best wishes to Russell Ferris. Well, we know who's won the Popularity Award tonight anyway. Well done, Micheál. Now, we move on to an award, the winner of which I hope will be back again and again for more in the years ahead. The Irish National Stud sponsors this, and that body and my own employer, the Agricultural Trust, share a common chairman, Matt Dempsey. I will shortly ask Matt to hand over the trophy to the owners and breeders of what I consider to be the best young talent in national hunt racing. So please give it up for Ger O'Brien. And after the great days of Quevega, could Sean and Ger have ever imagined that she would go on to produce such an immense talent? Delighted also to welcome Ger's wife Maria and their guests and wish them and Sean the best with Facile Vega for the remainder of the season. And our thanks to Matt and of course the CEO of the National Stud, Cathal Beale, for the sponsorship. Ladies and gentlemen, the connections of Facile Vega. Pint and Connolly's up the road, secured for me. Now, fresh from sponsorship of the Thyestes Chase, rebranding the Goff's Arkle sale, from which this award winner is a graduate, and anticipating their February sale on the 8th and the 9th of next month, Henry Beebe will join us on stage to present the award for the Novice Hurdler of 2022. As well as celebrating the talent of the horse who earned the accolade, this award is also a reminder of a talent we lost. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan will never be forgotten, and his short life, as Brendan reminded us there, is also remembered with an award at the Irish National Stud. Tonight we welcome his parents, Joe and Sharon, to receive this trophy in his memory. You can imagine we were delighted to see Sir Gerhard make a winning debut over fences on Thursday at Gowran Park. He did connections a heart flutter or two, and of course he is part of an amazing army of talent with Willie Mullins, who also of course trains Facile Vega as well. So thank you to Henry. I hope you, Vanessa, and your guests have a lovely evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fitzpatrick family. These are exciting times at Rathbarry Stud, where State of Rest is embarking on his new career at Stud. And Catherine Cashman, who I believe tried hard to sell a nomination to the now King Charles when they met at Royal Ascot. Well, she's going to join us for this award. It goes to a breeder who must have a very large trophy cabinet given the number of Grade 1 winners he produces. Well, Ken Parkhill has enjoyed amazing success as a breeder, and no one has a Cheltenham Festival Grade 1 record as good as he has for the past number of years. Please give him a warm welcome to accept his latest award, Ken Parkhill. Well, echoing a few comments that Brendan made there about the family, an interesting little fact is that Bob Ollinger's dam, Zenaid, was bred by Ken and 17 years ago, trained by his wife Lulu, ridden by their son Peter. She won a bumper at Cork on her first start and was beaten a short head on her only other run. So Bob Ollinger's out again tomorrow at Naas. We wish Connections well. Thanks to Catherine, Neve and Paul at Rathbarry and Glenview. Well done, Ken Parkhill. Here's an award that will be celebrated. Simon Kearns is up next, representing Tattersalls Ireland, and this week they staged their first sale of the year. Don't be fooled either by the fact that their February sale is a one-day affair on Tuesday, which of course is the last day of January. So if you're looking for the February sale, make sure to turn up a day early. We wouldn't want you to miss it. This is the second year in a row that this horse has won the award, and we would have had to initiate the most popular horse award if he didn't get this one. It's doubly pleasurable that the recipient of this award is one of the ITBA's most committed members and their leader in the west of Ireland. Ladies and gentlemen, please salute Sean Murphy. Flooring Porter is out of a mare called Lily Mile, and she too was a Sean Murphy homebred, a winning pointer. She won a couple of hurdle races when trained by Sean's neighbour Pauline Gavin, and I believe we have Gavin and Kiva Cromwell here with us tonight. We wish them well in their efforts to get to Cheltenham again, and the party starts after the chairs hurl.
Well, for the second year in a row, Flooring Porter, of course, has won the Hurdler of the Year award, and I'm delighted to be joined again for the second year in a row at the ITBA Awards by Sean Murphy. Sean, many congratulations.
Thank you very much, Kevin. You know, coming here last year, I thought I was nervous and about going up on stage and collecting the award, and now I couldn't believe that I'd be back here again this year, and being back here this year, I'm so more relaxed and I'm taking it all in, and it was just fantastic. Lovely to do it.
And it means so much, doesn't it? Because you are a small breeder. You don't have many mares. How many mares do you have?
We'd have 6 or 7 mares.
Which is very small, isn't it?
It is small, yeah, it is small. And in National Hunt, I suppose, it takes a long time. It takes a while. I mean, this all started off in 1998 when my dad bought 2 fillies off the Farmer's Journal, and it's taken what, 25 years, 26 years, whatever it is, and it's fantastic. And to be back here second year in a row it's just wonderful.
And that's just testament to the breeders as well. You need so much time and patience. Obviously a lot of money goes into it as well, but nothing happens in a hurry.
Absolutely, and it's all about, you need so much help, and your family are so much help to you, and people come into the yard and you get them to muck out stables, and you say, Ari, will you do a bit of this and do a bit of that, and I mean, you don't have to give them any money, and you have to try and keep the cost down, and you have to just tip along, and hope someday that you will breed a horse like Flooring Porter Irish-bred, and where it has brought me and the lads that own him and to Cheltenham and to win 2 Stayers Hurling in a row, and to be there in 2022 to witness it was like my best day, my best time ever at a race meeting, or really in my life in racing.
And of course, Sean, you're not just breeding, you're heavily involved in the ITBA as well. Of course, you're chairman of the ITBA Western region.
Yeah, and I have a great interest in it, and I have a great interest in the breeding, and I suppose I have a more of an interest in National Hunt, because probably that's the way I was brought up. But I have an interest in racing, and I watch racing, and I go racing, and it is such a lovely buzz for everybody, and it means so much to so many people. And I mean, like, to be a chairman of the Western region, I've been chairman for a few years, gone, you know, you can't stay for chairman forever. I've been back again, gone again, back again, and so many changes in the last 25 years, I suppose, and it's great. It's just, but I will never shun the opportunity to become chairman of the region. I just want to have the breeders at heart and just try and improve everything for breeders, because the breeder is the first person that starts the ball rolling. The breeder takes the mare to the stallion, and that is, they're the grassroots of racing, whether it be National Hunt or flat.
Very well said, and that is what the ITBA is all about, isn't it?
That is what the ITBA is all about, and it doesn't matter whether you're small, big, medium. It's very important that everybody gets the same recognition.
And Sean, you were getting plenty of comments and compliments about your fashion sense this year as well.
Oh, well, I mean, look, yeah, it's a big occasion, and it's nice to dress up, and if you can be dressed up, why not?
Exactly. Sean, many congratulations. Well done on winning the Hurdler of the Year for the 2nd year in succession as the breeder for Flooring Porter.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Great to be here.
We have yet another repeat winner now for the Chaser of the Year award, sponsored by our great friend and the ever-supportive Declan Landy. If you want a man to fancy win, he is the one. He and Josephine are very welcome this evening, and last year the winning connections were unable to join us. Tonight, I'm delighted to say, is different. Ladies and gentlemen, to accept the award in person on this occasion, would you give a great Irish welcome to Carolyn Bennett? Actually, this is the 3rd national award won by the Bennetts for Shishkin, as he also got one as a hurdler. What an achievement, and I notice that Carolyn is on the Rathbarry table, and of course their National Hunt Division, Glenview, Stans, Shishkin, Sire, Sholokov. So our thanks a million to Declan for the sponsorship, and once again, our congratulations to the Bennetts. Just a small reminder again, ladies and gentlemen, just a little bit of quiet when the awards are happening would be really appreciated. Ballylynch Studs' John O'Connor is up next for the Small Breeder Award, and they've attached appropriately their name to this award, and the reason for that, why it's so appropriate, you'll find out. While he is a modest man, the winner of this award has made more than one outstanding contribution to the industry. The Midlands of Ireland has bred many Group 1 winners, and last year was a particularly great one. But this man breeds and nurtures Group 1 human talent too. It's a pleasure to welcome to the stage Tom Lacey. thoroughbred are joined by many family members tonight, and the term family indeed extends to some others in their group who are not blood relatives. Tom enjoys great respect from everyone in the business. We wish him continued good health, happiness and success. And our thanks to John and Angela O'Connor for this sponsorship and the contribution you continue to make to the association. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Lacey. I think Tom is trying to sell John another one.
Well, one of the most popular winners of the night, of course, was the Small Breeder Award of 2022, which, of course, was won by Tom Lacey, who's joined by both his sons, of course, Barry Lacey and Tony Lacey. Tom, many congratulations. Of course, the breeder of Persian Force this year.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great achievement. It's very hard to win one of these. Very good, but I'm delighted to have it, yes. Great news.
And Tom, you spent your entire life, of course, in the racing industry, in the breeding industry, in your base, of course, in Road, County Offaly.
No, I was born and reared in Geishel. And when I got married, I went to Road. And I'm there ever since. 55 years there.
And Tom, as a jockey, you were runner-up in 2 Irish nationals to 2 very good horses.
2 good horses, yeah. Flying Bolt and Arkle, yeah. Well, I was second best, there was no excuses.
And you rode plenty of winners as a jockey.
Oh, I did, yeah. Did. Rode a lot, yeah.
And Tom, when you retired from riding, you went into the training. Both the lads, Barry and Tony, of course, rode a lot of winners for you.
Barry used to ride out before he go to school every morning. I rode out Ingabel every morning. I rode out her, and she went to one group and listed races. And he rode out every morning before she ran. And he was very good. He was Unidare Apprentice champion when he was small. Look at him now.
That was a good while ago.
That's a good while ago.
And Tom, Ingabel, she won what is now the Group 1 Phoenix Stakes when it was run at the Phoenix Park.
She did, yeah. In the Phoenix Park, yeah. She was very good, yeah. She was very good mare, she was. And she bred. Then we sold her afterwards, and Ballylynch bought her, and she was very successful as a good mare. Bred a lot of good, very good animals, yeah. Very good.
And it's not just good horses and good had this passed through your hands along the way. Pat Smullen, of course, started his career as champion apprentice when based at you as well.
He did, yeah. He used to come when he's going to school. He used to come up every Saturday and Sunday, and every day off. He was up and ride out until he went. The national school was over, so he went back to the secondary school for one day, and he came home and he said, "I'm not going back there anymore." So his father came and said, "Will you take him?" "Oh, of course you will." Yes. So he was with us then for the next 7 or 8 years. Yeah.
And you great success together.
Yeah. He was great. I knew after his second or third race he rode, he was very good because he was spot on everything he done. Yeah, he was very good. Very plenty of practice in pony racing. He used to go pony racing every Sunday. So that stood to him a lot. Yeah, he was good. Yeah.
And Tony, you've come back, of course, from America. You rode plenty of winners for your dad back in the day. You've spent many years now in America. Of course, you're vice president of Killenard Sales.
Yeah, it's amazing the way life works out. We're all back home, riding out, just working hard, trying to make a living. And so made a decision one day when things got a little quiet just to try something somewhere else for a few weeks. It's almost 30 something years later, and here I am. So yeah, it's life brings you strange directions, and you just so it's fantastic for us all to be here. Really, really special.
And of course, life goes full circle. Your dad trained Ingabel. You remember winning the Phoenix Stakes, what is now the Killenard Phoenix Stakes, right. Of course, at the old Phoenix Park, and now Killenard are sponsoring.
Yeah, because that was our first interaction with Killenard, because Bill Greeley, the former the president of Killenard at that time, presented the trophy to Mum and Dad for Ingabel. I let her up that day, and so it was the first time when then I became friends with his nephew, Bo Greeley, who got me over to America. So it's sort of like snowball from there. So actually Ingabel and that interaction with Killenard back then sort of which is amazing to be joint number 2 in Killenard at the moment. As first person, foreign person to be in that position, it's really, really humbling.
But it must be something, one, you're very proud of, and secondly, going back to what tonight is all about and the breeding and racing industry. So many Irish people have gone throughout the world, constantly do. So many have settled in America, started from the bottom and worked their way right up in all the different aspects, including Vice President of Killenard now.
Hey, listen, I'm just one of many. And it's not just Kentucky, it's all over the world. I think what Irish breeding and racing brings to the table is a lot of experience, a lot of common sense, and just some of us are a little more fortunate than others. But as I say, the skill set, the common sense, the knowledge, and the professionalism that Irish people, as they travel abroad, is respected. I think people here don't understand the level of expertise that we're nurturing here. What we curate is something really incredible, and I think we've got to celebrate it. Not just, it's not on an individual basis. As an industry, as I say, we're exporting a lot of talent, not just equine but human, and it's creating a lot of there's a huge portion of just in American racing, huge portion of influence that's very much Irish right now, and it's only getting stronger.
And Tony, you must be very proud of your mum and dad, and of course Barry, who's assisting him at home every night as well to pick up the Small Breeder Award. And it just goes to show how much has to go in to breed a Group 1 winner in Persian Force.
Absolutely. And I always say, Barry is more talented than I ever was, and he's not as good looking, but that's another. But he's again, the horsemanship. A lot of people just. I've got the utmost respect for Dad. What he's done and what he's taught us, and again, what he brings to the table and what he's done and what he's capable of doing. So this is just a special moment to have all the family together and be able to celebrate this as one, because having Frances here is Frances Mullen is really special as well. She said some great things. And of course, Pat and Frances' daughter Hannah was over with you along with Frances for the Breeders' Cup. She might be going spending a little bit of time and work experience in Killenard next year. That's on the table for her. So if she ever feels, because she's studying law, and the current president of Killenard is Shannon Arvin, who's an attorney, and one of our good friends is senior counsel Zahra, who's another lady, obviously, and that just wanted her to meet those two, who were more than willing to help her in her career as she. So that offer's on the table. And Barry, you must be very proud of your dad as well. You work closely with him every day too, and it's hard to believe it, but I do remember you when I was a kid. You rode plenty of winners as an apprentice on the flat for your dad.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, we're showing our age, I think, but no. I was kind of lucky, I think, Kevin. I got tall quite quickly, and that I jacked it in at the age of 21. So I can't do this anymore. It's physically and mentally really, really draining. So I know a lot of people drag it into their 30s and stuff like that, and it's tough going. So I was lucky that way. Yeah, I mean, this is really special tonight, Kevin. Yeah, it is, because when you make a plan to breed from a mare and all the rest, you take a chance sometimes. You can go the safe route or you can go a tricky route, and we chose to take a slightly different route, an unproven mare, an unproven sire. The unproven sires turned out to be really, really good. So sometimes it works, but you have to do something a little bit obscure sometimes. So, but yeah, it was really special to see him, and he was being great to us, great to Tally-Ho, great to Richard Hannon. He's just been a little star, and he's now retired to Tally-Ho stud. It's brilliant. Yeah.
We're halfway there, ladies and gentlemen. Next up is the 2-year-old Filly of the Year award. Kildangan Stud was one of the busiest spots during the recent ITM Stallion Trail, and Darley sponsored the first of our flat awards. Thanks to Joe Osborne for this sponsorship, and he has nominated stud director Jimmy Hyland to present it. The award goes to a filly who took our breath away on a Sunday in September. In a year that the Aga Khan studs celebrated their centenary, what a win that was. It's a great honour for this awards evening to welcome to the stage Princess Zahra Aga Khan. very welcome to the awards this evening. Wonderful to have you here. How special was it to have a Group 1 winning filly like Zahra by your own stallion, Siuni, and in such a special year?
It was wonderful, Leo. It was a really, really amazing day. We actually had an amazing year for the stallions, but for the 2-year-olds, for the 3-year-olds, and I spent most of the year thinking about my grandfather and my great-grandfather, and my father, of course, but he's still around and watching the racing.
Now, your presence at the Curragh on Moyglare Stud Stakes gave us some inkling that maybe you had a bit of inside information that she was a little bit special. Would that be true?
The people on the stage with us had kind of mentioned her.
They do keep you informed?
A bit, yes. Sometimes, often.
Now, you're starting the next century with not even just one, maybe 2 classic hopes. There might be a little colt there that we might develop. You have Vadeni, who is a wonderful year for him. You have a wonderful sire roster. Which of all of those gives you most pleasure, and which are you looking forward to for this year?
That's like asking a parent who their favourite child is. It's impossible.
Okay, what's your favourite child?
No, look, I think we're going into this year with a lot of optimism. Obviously, I mean, these are horses and things can go right and things can go wrong. I mean, we have to hope that everything will go well and that everyone will get through the year, fine. But it's absolutely amazing to go into year 101 with such a lovely range of hopes amongst the young stock and for the stallions and the 3-year-olds and hopefully 2 4-year-olds who have some nice prospects. So yes, and I really think it's incredible that it happened last year. Going into next year, I really think about my 4-bet.
Absolutely. And can I just recommend that if you haven't had an opportunity to see it, the film made to celebrate the year is very special.
Thank you, Leo. They were, Fanny and Dimitri followed us around and they were very patient. It was COVID and they went above and beyond and it was really fun to do. And I think it really shows that we're a team and that lots of us work together and every single person in the organization is part of the successes and also the quiet times. So I like the film because it shows every aspect of what breeding and racing is.
Well, all I can say is on our behalf, our best wishes to you, to your father, of course, who was one of the first members of the Hall of Fame, one of my most enjoyable nights in Kilmainham, crashing your party. I think we ended up in a club in Dublin afterwards, if I remember. And, of course, to your teams in Ireland and France. And may I just also extend a particular warm welcome to your mum who's with us tonight. Not only is she joining us, but she's doing so on her birthday. So our congratulations to you, Princess Sina. And thank you very much for you. That's wonderful. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Princess Zahra Aga Khan.
Yes, I'm delighted to be joined here at the ITBA Awards by Princess Zahra Aga Khan. Princess Zahra, you're very welcome along, and many congratulations on landing the 2-year-old Filly of the Year award, which are very exciting to hear.
Yeah, she's a very lovely filly. She was really exceptional. It's lovely to see that family come back. I mean, they're obviously producing very, very well. And she's homebred. She's by Siuni. She's from a mare who's already produced a Group 1 winner. I have to say Pat Downs always had faith in her dam. She's inbred to Danzig and Mr. Prospector, so therefore inherent speed, I hope. And I think that Dermot Welt has done an amazing job with her. We decided not to run her after the Moyglare because she's a 2-year-old and our families haven't regularly produced 2-year-olds. So to have a really, really crack performer like that, want to save her give her the best chance of doing well this year.
And 2 from 2, she was so impressive in winning at Galway first time out. It's a massive step up from a maiden company to a Group 1, and she was equally impressive. She literally hasn't come off the bridle.
She was more impressive than I think any of us expected. Well, no, she was really eye-catching in that race. She showed a class that, you know, when you see that happen, you sort of have to stand up and pay attention and then really think about what you're going to do, because obviously we're traditional breeders. We're not in it for the racing career, where she will, I hope, become a very important broodmare. So it's the sort of long-term thinking of how to manage her race career best so that she has the best chances of doing the best she can and then joining the broodmare band.
And the way she won over 7 furlongs, obviously now winter favourite for the 1,000 guineas, she'll have no trouble with breeding suggests as well, getting the mile trip.
One would think so. You look at her paper, she has speed, but I mean, she also has staying capacity for a mile. Certainly, I don't know about more than a mile. I think I'd have to ask Dermot Weld what he thinks, but she's a really classy filly.
You've also got a very good colt here in the Johnny Murtagh trained Shartash. He was a very impressive winner of the Gain Railway Stakes at the Curragh early on in the season as well.
Yes, that's a very good family. They tend to produce good horses every generation. I think he has real turn of foot. He has real speed. He's a very impressive horse. He's gorgeous to look at, and when he accelerates, he's fantastic. I don't know if he liked the going in all of his races last year. I don't know if maybe the end of the year was a big ask for him potentially. Maybe, but you know, it's Johnny's. I think Johnny has faith in him, and so do I.
And Princess Zahra, it was so appropriate to have such another brilliant year last season on what was the centenary year for the Aga Khan studs.
Yes, last year was amazing. You get used to having cycles in breeding. You have really fantastic times, and then you have quiet times, and you don't really know. You use the same variables in your breeding every year. You don't really know. But the fact that in the 100th year since my great-grandfather bought his base mares in 1922, to have a year where we have 2-year-old winners, 3-year-old winners, important races, provincial races, all levels. The stallions have done very well. And the whole operation was energized last year by this amazing sort of fortuitous year. It was very moving.
And of course, you're so ingrained, the Aga Khan studs, in the Irish breeding and racing industry for generations upon generations.
Of course. It's the pillar. It's one of the 2 pillars of what we do. Being present in Ireland, I think, has been incredibly important. You look at the horses that we've had here, Azamor, Calanisi, Pat Downs, Giltan Stud, Shashoon. It really is one of the foundations of our breeding operation. And we have always known that the mares who are stationed in Ireland are happy mares and make good families. So it's a commitment for this breeding operation for the long run.
And Princess Zahra, the stallion roster is very exciting as well. Obviously Sayuni, and also
Zarak.
Of course Zarak, Zarkava's son.
By Dubawi.
She was so brilliant as a race mare not that long ago.
Yeah, she was my father and I agreed at the time that she was the best filly we'd ever bred in his generation of breeding, and that spans many decades. And so to have a horse like Zakava, win everything she could possibly win. She was quirky, she can be difficult, but she was absolutely brilliant. And as a broodmare, very often those really top-class race fillies don't always make top-class mares because they give everything on the racecourse, and then maybe it takes another generation after the Group 1 winner to produce good horses. But I think she has proven that, he's by Dubawi, so Zarak was born to be, a very, very good horse. I think the genes, we all thought that the genes would out in the end. You can't be that well bred from a mare who is absolutely unbelievable on the racecourse and one of the top stallions of our day. And it doesn't surprise me that, this is not very commercial of me, but it doesn't surprise me that he's got good stats.
And Princess Zahra, of all her Group 1s that she won, including the Arc as well, the real standout one to me is her victory in the Prix Vermeil. After losing so much ground out of the gates, to come and win so well that day.
Yes, that was the most amazing race. We were standing there watching her, and all of us sort of let out a collective groan when she didn't go. She didn't leave the stalls, she stood. And there was no reason for her to stand. And Christophe Soumillon will say the same thing. She just stood in the stall for no apparent reason. And obviously, in those 2 seconds, we thought the race was lost. But then she joined the pack, went perfectly normally with the pack, came into the finishing straight. Most horses would have been exhausted from catching up. Most fillies would have been exhausted. And she just won. She just did it. She was like, well, I'm going to win now. And that was it. And that is my favorite Zahra race of all. She was so amazing that day. Temperamental, typical female.
All the good ones are.
They are.
And finally, Princess Zahra, Vedini, he's going to stay in training. He stays in training this year as well.
Yes, he does. He does because, last year was very interesting to go to the Eclipse, and that was great. And then he had a bit of a hiccup in the Champions Stakes. I think we asked not enough of him for a period. He wasn't ready for that race. But then the Arc was a revelation because Jean-Claude Rouget, and we didn't know if he would stay the distance because he's a very speedy horse. He has lots of turn of foot, and he is a true 10 furlong horse. So in our minds, he was a 10 furlong horse. But after the Champions Stakes, we thought, well, we might as well give it a try. We didn't know if he'd like soft going. We didn't know if he'd get a mile and a half because his nature is a 10 furlong horse. But we thought, why not? And then, I mean, Alpinista was amazing, and it was wonderful to see her win. But it was such a revelation to see Vedini come in second like that. He gets the trip. He doesn't mind soft going. So why not keep him in training this year and see what happens?
And it opens up more options as well, with he getting the trip now as well.
Yes.
Princess Zahra, it's been great to have you here at the ITBA Awards this evening. Not just you, but your mum is here with you as well. She's really enjoyed the night, Princess Salama.
She has. My mum was a great horsewoman. She taught me to love horses. And it's wonderful for me to be able to be here. It's her birthday today, so we decided to go on a bit of a night out together because Mum's always been involved with the racing and the breeding, and she loves it, so I'm happy to be here with her.
Great stuff. Princess Zahra, many congratulations on your award with Tahira tonight. Thank you for your time and best of luck with 2023.
Thank you very much.
Now, for the 2-year-old Colt of the Year award. And for the first time, it's a pleasure to welcome Keeneland Sales as sponsors, and Tony Lacey, one of those Group 1 winning humans I referred to earlier, bred by Tom and Peg, is their Vice President of Sales. His company sponsors the Group 1 Phoenix Stakes at the Curragh, a race he watched with mixed feelings last year as Persian Force, bred by his father, found one too good for him on the day. No stranger to awards or to breeding Group 1 horses, and also representing his son, the recipient of this award is the legend Tim Hyde Sr. Great also to see Trish Hyde here tonight, and please pass on our congratulations to the young fella too. What exciting times ahead for little Big Bear, and of course what a wonderful season for No Nay Never. So many Group 1 winning juveniles. Hopefully Aidan O'Brien can give a thumbs up that all is going well with him for this season, and our best wishes to all connections. Thanks also to you, Tony, for travelling to be with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Hyde. It's time to welcome, for the 3-year-old Filly of the Year award, time to welcome Freddie Powell, I should say, from Arcana to the stage. I'd like to point out that we're not related, I wish. And our thanks to Eric Hoyle and Freddie for your continuing love for this evening. And your award goes to a filly who sparkled when it meant most on a classic day at the Curragh. Travelling from Switzerland to join us this evening, it's always a delight to welcome the owner of Moydlair Stud, Eva Maria Buscher-Hafner. And of course, a second award winner on the night, trained by Dermot Weld. Home the Song joins Search for a Song as a second champion in recent years Dermot has produced for Moydlair, one of his longest standing owners. And as Brendan pointed out, Moydlair too had an anniversary year this year, 60 years since its foundation by Eva's father, Walter. How lucky we are in Ireland to have such dedicated supporters. Well done, Eva and all the team at Moydlair.
Dermot Well joins me here now at the ITBA Awards. Dermot, many congratulations. It's been a very, very good night for two of your top-class fillies that you train. Tahira, of course, was the 2-year-old Filly of the Year Award 2022. And, of course, the very impressive Homeless Songs, the Irish Guineas winner, of course, won the 3-year-old Filly of the Year Award.
Tahira, you know, she was brilliant when she won the Moydlair, Kevin. I'm delighted she's champion 2-year-old of Europe. Champion 2-year-old filly of Europe, and it's great for an Irish filly to be champion of Europe.
She was so impressive that day. She's 2 from 2. She was very impressive when she won a maiden that you farmed with some great fillies down through the years over a long period of time, of course, at Galway. That was over 7. When did you think she was as special as she is?
She always showed talent. She was a filly that learns very quickly, and from the very first time we worked her, we were very happy with her. She went to Galway, she handled the track, she jumped quick, knew her job, won very easy, and then progressed nicely 4 weeks later to the Curragh, and I thought that was a spectacular performance by her.
Spectacular performance indeed, and especially it's a massive step up from winning a 7-furlong maiden on the bridle to 4 weeks later taking on some far experienced fillies in Group 1 company, and literally she didn't come off the bridle that day either.
Look, it was a very, very good Moydlair. We know the way the form was worked out. The second filly is top-class filly. You know, she's won the Breeders' Cup. And our filly's just very talented.
Were you expecting a performance like that in the day in the Moydlair?
I thought she could win, put it that way. I thought she could win. She's very, very good.
Obviously, she's done well over the winter. Has she grown a shade?
Grown a little. If you want to be critical, you'd like her to have grown more. But she's developed, and that's why we didn't run her anymore. She just needs to physically develop, and she's done that. I'm very, very pleased with the way she has developed.
She's obviously back in training now.
Yes.
Obviously the plan is the Guineas. Will she take any Guineas trial beforehand?
The present thoughts is that we may go and start on the 2nd of April in the Leopardstown Guineas trial and take it from there, rather than committing and say she'll definitely run the English Guineas or the French Guineas or the Irish Guineas. And let's wait and see, but we do not have a definite starting point for her. She's very well, she looks magnificent, we've lots to look forward to.
Really exciting filly to look forward to.
She is indeed, yes.
And of course, Dermot, you trained her half-sister, the brilliant Tarnawa, who again was another one of many champions for you.
Yeah, she was champion of the world between 10 and 12 furlongs in 2021. And not only did she win the Breeders' Cup for us on the Vermeer and the Opera, but you know, she was unlucky not to win the Arc. She was beaten half a length for the Arc de Triomphe. But she was an exceptional mare to train as well.
And is there many similarities regards temperament? I know obviously Tahira is a big engine as well, like Tarnawa did, but temperament-wise, are they quite similar fillies?
They're quite similar in many, many ways. Tahira has more pace than Tarnawa. Both have plenty of temperament. Both could be challenging, but that's what we enjoy.
And the way the style of her racing, what we've seen of her twice, you wouldn't be, and obviously coming from a stout Aga Khan family as well, there's no worries about her getting a mile in your mind, is there?
No, I'd be very confident. I know she's a lot of pace, but I'd be confident she should get a mile.
You've won the Guineas numerous times with some cracking fillies. How does is there many similarities between her and some of your recent Guineas winners?
You know, Homeless Songs was very, very talented last year. She won the Irish Guineas by, 5.5 lengths, and we'll talk about her in a moment. This filly probably showed more pace at an early age than any of them. You know, she's just a lot of speed.
And Dermot, moving on to Homeless Songs, that was an unbelievable performance when she won the Guineas last year and only her second run of the season. We only saw her 3 times last season.
Yeah, she's a very, very talented filly. She won her classic trial at Leopardstown very impressively. She put up, again, a scintillating performance when she won the 1,000 Guineas at the Curragh. She's a filly that has to have a good ease in the ground. I did have problems training her later in the year, but she's back in training now, and we look forward to her for the coming year.
And she obviously stays in training as well.
She does indeed, and I would expect to have her out reasonably early.
And of course last year too, the ground obviously played against you. She missed her Ascot because you were adamant she wants a bit of ease in the ground, and of course last summer was so dry we didn't see much of her.
Yeah, she's a filly. She's a beautifully bred filly by Frankel, as I said, but the one thing she has to have, because of her conformation, she really needs a cut in the ground. And that's why I'll hope to have her out early in the spring, all being well.
And what's the early season targets for her in your mind?
Look,
you're always a man who likes to make a plan.
Look, there's not a lot for her in the early year. We can start off with the Group 3 at the Curragh the first day of the year, or we could go for the Heritage at Leopardstown. You know what I mean, there's different possibilities, but I would be keen to run her early in the spring and see where we go from there, because, you know, if we get another very warm, dry summer, it's less likely you're going to see her.
And I'd imagine there'll be plenty of autumn targets, all things being equal, for her as well.
Yes, nowadays there's so many targets. That's what we enjoyed with Tarnawa so much by training her for the second part of the year. The same would apply with Homeless Songs. You know, there's plenty of Group 1s for her in the second part.
And what kind of Group 1s would you be thinking about in the second part of the season, all things being equal?
Well, look, we'll have to look at races that, like the Matron, is an obvious race on Irish Champions Weekend, and you take it from there.
And how has she done over the winter months, Dermot?
She's done fabulously well. She's got really, really strong, and I just couldn't be happier with her.
Exciting season ahead. Thanks for coming and having a word with us tonight, and well done with your 2 fillies winning both awards here tonight.
Much appreciated. Thank you as always, Kevin.
The 3-year-old Colt of the Year award. And another long-standing sponsor with us is Sean Barrett Bloodstock, and John Barrett is on hand, I hope, to hand over the trophy for the best 3-year-old colt. This is another repeat, and last year I recall meeting the breeder who enjoyed the evening so much, he said he hoped to be back. Well, he got his wish. Well, possessing one of the most iconic surnames in racing, it's great to have you back, Ben Sangster. Last year we couldn't split Luxembourg and Perfect Power, who shared the 2-year-old Colt award. Now Luxembourg wins it outright as a 3-year-old. And as I said to Ben when we met earlier in the lift, maybe you'll come back again next year. We wish you well, and our thanks to John again for the award. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Sangster. Now, the final equine award of the night, and then we have two very, very special awards after that. This is the Stare of the Year award. Coolmore's MV Magnier will take special pleasure, no doubt, in making this presentation, and it is for a special horse who carried all before him in 2022, making him a Horse of the Year for many people. What a special horse and what a special year. And for the second time tonight, and that is an achievement alone, this award goes to Moidlair Stud and Eva Hafner. My thanks to MV for doing this, but I'm just going to ask MV and Eva to remain on the stage just for a moment, because I just want to pay tribute to the dam of Kyprios. He's from a family that has a long history of Moidlair Stud, just almost matching the time since the farm was founded. He's one of 3 Group 1 winners from the late Polished Gem, and she, of course, was a daughter of Dane Hill. But just consider this. Polished Gem had 10 foals, 10 runners, and 10 winners, and 8 of them were stakes winners. Half of the stakes winners out of her were sired by Galileo, including Kyprios in Search for a Song, and of course she had 3 Group 1 winners. I know Polished Gem meant a lot to Eva and the team at Moidlair, and I think this was an appropriate time to pay tribute to that great mare, and our congratulations to Moidlair and Eva again.
I'm delighted to be joined by Eva Hafner, of course, of Moidlair Stud here at the Heritage Hotel in County Laois on the ITBA Awards. Eva, many congratulations. It's been another hugely successful year for Moidlair Stud, and of course a very hugely successful night as well. You've won 2 awards. Homeless Songs, of course, won the 3-year-old Filly of the Year award for 2022, and of course Kyprios, the 4-time Group 1 winner, was the Stare of the Year award in 2022. Many congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Homeless Songs, she was brilliant, wasn't she, when she won the Guineas this year?
Yeah. I was so surprised. First, I think it was the first time when I had emotions on the place, because I just started crying. I couldn't believe. And I don't know, but I think a lot of people know that she belongs so much to my heart. She got her name from a friend of mine. He wrote the song. He's a very well-known singer of Switzerland, but also in France, Stefan Eicher. And he didn't wrote this song, but he sings the song Homeless Songs, and that's where she got the name from.
Obviously you were waiting quite some time to find a proper filly, a very good filly, to use the name Homeless Songs. So obviously from very early on in her 2-year-old career, you must have thought this filly was special to give her that name Homeless Songs.
Okay, it's maybe every year it's the same. If you choose a name, you look at the yearlings, you give them the names, and then you think this could be a crack, this could be a very good filly, and that's what happened with Homeless, and I'm really just happy. And it was maybe one of the best years of Moidlair. Last year we celebrated 60 years of Moidlair, and it's just great.
And Homeless
I'm
Songs,
really thankful.
And Homeless Songs, Eva, it's great to hear that she's going to remain in training for 2023, yes, because she's very relatively lightly raced. Obviously, the very dry summer last year, the ground was against her, hence we only saw her 4 times last season.
Yes, yes. It was all about the ground, and I learned that's what happens sometimes, and you have to look after the horse. The horse is the most important, and that's what we did.
And Eva, Kyprios, he just kept on improving from another one of, going back really to one of the original Moidlair families. Kyprios is a descendant, a full brother, of course, to the year older Search for a Song, dual St. Ledger winner. He improved at each race last season, and ended up being a 4-time Group 1 winner.
Yeah, I couldn't believe, because I don't know if you remember the time when he was at Ascot and he was a little bit lazy. And so Aidan O'Brien, to who I'm very thankful, he gave him the time, he believed in him, and now he always tells me, Aidan, that he's still a little bit lazy, but he's improving by every race. Yeah.
And of course that pedigree as well, Kyprius, Search for a Song, they all need a bit of time, but improve with age, don't they?
Yes. And I'm very, of course, they are from Polish Gem, that's them. And yes, she was maybe one of the best brood mares of Moyglare.
And of course, Eva, Moyglare, it was so apt, you had such a brilliant year last season. 60 years, Moyglare stud. It's one of the most synonymous stud farms and colours in racing, not just in Ireland, but throughout the world.
I hope so. I don't know. For me, yes, but you know, there are so many other good colors. There are so many good horses, and it's just nice to be able to compete in this level of racing. And yeah.
And of course, Eva, your late dad, he developed Moyglare stud back in what, 1962?
1962, yeah. So he went over to Ireland. He meant to buy a show jumper, and then he ended up the next morning in buying Moyglare stud, which was a milk farm at the time. Yeah.
And it's now developed into one of the great nurseries throughout the world as well. You've bred so many top-class horses going back to the early days of Assert and Be My Guest and horse of that calibre, to the likes of Go and Go. You'd Market Booster, Dance Design, Trusted Partner, Casual Conquest, Refuse to Bend. The list is endless, isn't it?
Yeah, and when I think about, I'm still, and I will be ever thankful to my dad, because he gave me the trust. He believed that I can follow in his footsteps, and that's what I always try to do. But I couldn't do it, and I have to say, I couldn't do it without all the people involved. Everything starts with breeding, and then at Moyglare, the people who work with her, and then they go over to the trainer. And it's, I think it's always amazing how trainers can just see what is the ability of a horse, and that's, yeah.
And Eva, it must give you so much pride to see the families, their descendants from back in the early days, still producing Group 1 winners in the present day.
Yes.
And Eva, finally, it's a really exciting time of the year. Obviously the 2-year-olds are now in training, the mares are about to fall. Does that really excite you this time of year?
Yes, especially because we just got the first foal 2 days ago, and it's a filly. It's out of Chevalier, who's the mother of Homeless, the dam of Homeless, and yeah, fingers crossed.
You'll have to come up with another good name for her. Eva, many congratulations on winning 2 awards tonight with, of course, Homeless Songs and Kyprius, and as always, thanks for your time.
Yeah.
I will invite Horse Racing Ireland's Suzanne Eade, along with Irish Thoroughbred Marketing's Charles O'Neill, to join us for the penultimate award of the evening. Initiated relatively recently, the Wild Geese Trophy has been one of the most popular innovations from the awards team. I hope that the internet cables between the United States and Ireland don't melt with the number of people who will be tuning in this evening from Kentucky. They're glamorous, warm, kind people. I cannot think of anyone more deserving of this award. I know they'll be cheered loudly to the stage, so please welcome David and Anne Hanley.
One of the most popular award winners of the night was the Wild Geese Award, of course, 2022, and it was won by David and Anne Hanley. David, Anne, many congratulations.
Thank you.
David, I remember you when I was growing up, you were training on the Curragh over 20 years ago.
That's right, yeah. Really enjoyed my time training on the Curragh. Only trained on the Curragh for 4 years. Previous to that, I trained out of my farm in Whitechurch in Straffan.
and really enjoyed my time there.
And of course, you came from a horsey background. You were a very accomplished international show jumper and an event rider early on in your life.
Yes, I had been show jumping and only evented for a short while, but was lucky enough to be on a very good event horse called Kilgrogan, who I rode in the Olympic trials back in the day when I was riding. So, really good horse.
And David, you trained some really good horses in your time on the Curran and Straffan as well. Ladana is one filly that always stands out to me.
Yeah, Ladana was a tremendous filly. She was from the first crop of Nicholas, and she broke her maiden in Tipperary as a 2-year-old, and she ran second in a Grade 2 stake, the Anglesey Stakes at the Curragh, and then she came back and won the Greenlands as a 3-year-old in the Ballyogan Stakes. We actually ran her at Ascot in the King Stands. She finished 5th, I think, but it poured rain that week and she couldn't handle soft ground. But she was a tremendous filly, very lucky to have her.
And Golden Apples as well, one of the standout performers for you. You still trained her when she won her first Grade 1 in the States, didn't you?
Well, I trained her, myself and my partner, James Egan, bred her. We couldn't sell her as a yearling, so we started training her. And she didn't run as a 2-year-old, but as a 3-year-old, she won her maiden very impressively, ran 3rd in the Pretty Polly, and we sold her to go to America, to Gary Tanaka. And his plan was to run her in the Delmar Oaks, and asked me if I'd train her up to the race. And then she shipped out the week of the race and won the Delmar Oaks. And Ben Cecil took over her training and went on to train her to be an Eclipse Award-winning turf mare in America. So she was a tremendous mare. Was only getting good sort of in the middle of her 3-year-old year.
And David, in the late 90s, early 2000s, both yourself and Anne decided to make the move across to America. You've been hugely successful over there since, and obviously you're closely involved in the selection process and behind the scenes with Winstar Farm.
Yes, we moved to America in 2001, and in the last 10 years I've been working with Winstar, and we've had huge success. We've purchased 9 Grade 1 winners over the last 10 years, including Justify and Life is Good, and it's a great team. Work together with Elliot Walden, and we've had great success buying yearlings to race and try and turn them into stallions.
And of course, Anne, you've been by your husband's side literally all your life. You were childhood sweethearts, were you?
I like to think so. He might think differently, but I've known him since I was 4 or 5. My family have videos of us competing in pony club games and hunter trials. And I always like to think and point out I was in front. He was admiring the view from behind. But I've known him all my life.
He was out. You weren't going to let him get away anyway.
No way. He had a target on his back. He was mine.
A true love story. Yeah. And Anne, we were listening to you earlier on, and obviously when you were diagnosed with Parkinson's around 15 years ago, a little bit more, you've put so much effort and energy in to raising awareness and raising money for Parkinson's research.
Yes, that's absolutely true. But that's not to say I had a rocky road initially. During the diagnosis, they told me my life expectancy would be approximately 10 years, and that shattered me. I was 49 and couldn't believe my life would be robbed. So I started to feverishly look at research, what was happening, joined Michael J. Fox, became an ambassador with him, went to Washington, lobbied on the Senate for funding, went to talk to University of Kentucky, who were actively engaged in major research for Parkinson's disease that couldn't be funded since it didn't use drugs. We were using an intervention therapy where we were transplanting nerve graft into the brain to regenerate and restore the dead cells. So 75 plus patients later, and I've been one of them that have been in the research program. I'm still here doing well, able to fight, able to help other patients, especially with their diagnosis. People are shocked, they don't expect it. But when I talk to them, when they reach out to me through email, phone, people find me on the website, but wherever they find me, they get renewed life and hope. It's all about hope, it's all about purpose. To have a purpose to keep you going every morning when you wake up and think today's going to be a good day. Today will be better than yesterday. And so far it has.
And Anne, you've raised over 4 million?
Yes, I've raised over 4 million for research. I'm very active. I'm on the board of philanthropy and neurological research at University of Kentucky. We also look at surgery interventions for Alzheimer's dementia patients, since they're first cousins of Parkinson's. So we're able to keep all that research funded and to keep it going because it's not drug related. Nobody makes a big buck from the research. The advantage is to the patient and the patient alone. It's unique.
And Anne and David, finally, what did it mean to you tonight to be announced as the Wild Geese Award winners 2022?
It was awesome. I got so choked up I started crying. I thought I'd never make it up the steps to the stage. I never dreamed we'd win this award, never thought about it. It was a shock when we got the letter. We looked at it, reread it. It took us 3 days to contact Una and say, is this for real? Right?
Yeah, it was a great honour to win it, to be nominated for the award, and especially as it's decided by the Irish thoroughbred breeders, who I consider peers in the business and have great respect for them, and to have them pick us as the nominees was a great honour.
Well, you got one of the best receptions, if not the best reception of the night, deservedly so. And thank you very much for telling us our story. And David, and congratulations, thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Kevin.
Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine, Charlie McConnell, joins me now at the ITBA Awards. Minister, it's great to have you here. It's your first time being at the ITBA Awards. Is it the Heritage this year?
Yeah, it is, and it's great to be here. And it's been an honour for the last 2 years to be leading out on such a wonderful sector, and indeed continuing that commitment of government policy and that consistency of policy that has been so central to underpinning the tremendous natural skill and horsemanship that we have in this country. And really that policy stability as well as government funding assistance has been central in building our sector up to being world leading, and it's something that's a privilege to be able to continue and indeed to be here tonight to recognise and honour the achievements over the last year and to talk to those who make this sector the great sector that it is.
And of course, Minister, it's a great employment, especially in the rural part of the country as well. Over 34,000 people are employed directly and indirectly, of course, in the thoroughbred breeding and racing sector as well, and it's also worth over 1.84 billion to the economy as well.
Yeah, it's a sector which goes right across the country. It's in each parish and in each county, and it really is an important part of the rural economy as a result of that. And all of it then, when it adds up, it takes its place with any sector from any other country across the world. So for example, in Ireland we're third only to Australia and the US in relation to the foals that are born in Ireland from across the world. So that's very, very significant, and it's something that we are very proud of, and it's something that's great to take time on an occasion such as tonight to reflect on that and celebrate that as well.
And of course, Minister, you're a Donegal man as well. You were brought up in the farming background and the fisheries background as well. You obviously have an interest in racing as well, because you know Dylan Brown McMonigal, of course, who is our dual champion apprentice and one of our up and coming riders, a fellow Donegal man also.
Yeah, we're very proud of him in Donegal. Donegal wouldn't be the foremost county for racing in the country, but it really has been growing as a sector in the county in the last while. But our greatest export undoubtedly is Dylan Brown McMonigal, and it's been wonderful to follow his career, and it's obvious the talent that he has and the future that he has ahead of him, and I look forward to following that in the years ahead and wish him very, very well, and we'll be shouting for him and backing him all the time.
And of course you have a very good understanding of how important, coming from Donegal, from the farming and fisheries background, how important the racing and breeding sector is throughout Ireland and of course throughout the world also.
Yeah, and so listen, I mean, from a government point of view, over many years we've worked closely with the sector. We've understood the natural, luck we've had in terms of having, the soil, the horses, but really importantly the people. To build such a great sector that we have, and it's important we continue to do that. So one of the steps that I've taken over the last few months is that I've opened up an investment grant scheme for the horse racing sector, Targeted Agricultural Modernisation Scheme, we call it, or TAMS for short. It's available in other parts of the Irish agricultural sector, but we're extending it now to the horse racing sector and to farmers who are breeding horses. So for example, it'll mean that there'll be 40% or 60% grants in the case of young people and young farmers and women farmers, for example, for investments in stables and horse equipment, and many different aspects of it. So it's a reflection of how we as a government want to continue to support the sector and see it build on what it has achieved, but also continue to excel and continue to move with the times and continue to innovate, because you always have to be improving to stay ahead and to stay at the top.
Minister, of course we're celebrating, we're rewarding some of the top international breeders here this evening, but we're also rewarding the small breeders who've only one or two mares in the country. So it's not all about the big foreign international investment. It's about the local investment. It's about the small breeders just as much as the big breeders.
It is, absolutely, and we've about 25,000 horse breeding farms across the country, and over 90% of them actually are 5 mares or less. So that's wonderful, and that means it's spread everywhere, but it also means that you have the interest there, and the passion with which people bring to that. And of course then it's all about excellence, it's all about good breeding, and each one of those farmers and breeders bring that to the table. So it's wonderful to see. We want to encourage that, we want to excel, and we want the top trainers, the top breeders, the top people from around the world coming here, but we also want it to be underpinned by people on a small scale backing that up and bringing their excellence to the table as well, to overall contribute to what is the wonderful Irish horse racing sector that we have.
And it's great to see so many young people here this evening that are just in the infancy of their careers, let it be breeding, racing, working in different aspects of the industry. They've come from far and wide. A lot of them have come home from different parts of the world, America, Australia, etc., Japan, to be here this evening. But that's what it's all about, is the young people coming through as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you need that, and you have a great spread and depth in the sector from the experience that's there, and that representation of all generations. But crucial to that is seeing young people come through, bring their energy, bring their new way of doing things, and we're very much seeing that in the horse racing sector. And it's in the Irish blood in many ways. And all you have to do is get a bit of exposure to it, and you get the passion for it, and it never leaves you, and you want to work on it and you don't want to leave it. And we're thankfully seeing that continue to build, seeing many of the wonderful young people here today, but at the race meetings and yards and in breeding establishments across the country. That's what we're going to continue to see, ensure Ireland competes with any other country in the world and continue to produce the top class horses, trainers, and indeed races that we have here in the country too.
Minister, finally, it's great to see so many members of government here this evening at the ITBA Awards in the Heritage in County Laois.
Yeah, I'm joined here this evening by my ministerial colleagues in the Department of Agriculture, Minister and Cabinet colleague, Minister Pippa Hackett, and also Minister of State Martin Hayden. And also we're joined by many others. The Cion Corla, of the Speaker of the Dáil of the Parliament is here tonight as well, Sean O'Farrell, and also James O'Connor, and Senator Fiona O'Loughlin as well. So that's just a representation of. And other years we have many more. So that's the representation of how the Irish political system really values the sector, and also how it spreads right across the country. So it's great to join with all of the team here in the Irish Thoroughbred Breeders Association tonight for what is a wonderful occasion, and we look forward to many more.
Minister, many thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
I'm delighted to be joined by Cathy Grassick, Chairman of the ITBA, here at the awards tonight in the Heritage in Killenard, of course, in County Laois. Cathy, another hugely successful ITBA Awards night.
Yes, it's been a wonderful evening. There's been so many wonderful award winners, and it's just great to see the testament of the success of Irish-bred horses and Irish breeders across the world. So it's very exciting.
And of course, we've had Minister McConnell, of course, here this evening from the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine as well. I think we had 5 or 6 different government members as well, which is very important to see. And obviously it shows how important the breeding and racing industries are to the Irish economy.
It's been wonderful. We've had, the Ceann Comhairle, we had 3 ministers of state, and then we also had a number of TDs and senators. To have such support from the government for our industry is really powerful, and it just shows the respect that our industry is held in. As one of the leading producers of horses in the world, we're the leading producer of horses in Europe. It's just great to see that kind of support coming for us.
And we've so much foreign investment coming into the country as for a large number of years, as we saw, which was great to see. Eva Hafner, of course, of Moiglair Stud, Princess Zahra Aga Khan, and her mother, of course, Princess Salama Aga Khan, here this evening as well. And his small breeders as well, the likes of Sean Murphy, Tom Lacey, and all the younger breeders coming through.
It's just been a wonderful selection. It just really shows the cross section of life of Ireland, really, that is present here in the breeding section. It just shows as well that you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands to achieve success. Really, the success that comes from the breeders of Ireland is in their horsemanship, their skill, the land, the types of horses that we breed, and there's so many other factors in Ireland that make us the best, the best producer of horses, and in one of the best producers in the world. And certainly we attract an awful lot of foreign breeders to come and base their operations in Ireland, which is a real testament to the standards that we have in Ireland.
It's worth over 1.84 billion to the Irish economy, the breeding and racing industries, and over 34,000 are employed. That's directly in the employment in the industry as well, and that's before any of the knock-on effects to the local economy. And a lot of that employment, of course, comes in the rural part of the country.
I mean, it's really amazing, like there's breeders in every single county in Ireland. We're an all-island organisation. And to see that level of employment and investment going into, areas which mightn't otherwise have that kind of investment, it makes a huge difference to the communities, to employment. And as you said, there's so many people employed in the industry, directly and indirectly. When you think of the knock-on effects with hotels, tourism, restaurants, everything, hospitality. It's a fantastic industry. And when you see, the sales at Tattersalls Ireland or Goffs, and the amount of, foreign investment, the amount of foreign buyers that it attracts into Ireland, it's wonderful. And the IRE incentive is just doing even more to bring those buyers to Irish sales. It's a wonderful initiative, and it's great to see HRI as well supporting Irish breeders.
Of course, and the ITBA bonus scheme as well for the fillies and mares, that's proved hugely successful. And that's one thing about our industry. You're always thinking outside the box with the ITBA as well, and seeing something you can tweak or improve to make the industry better.
Well, that's it. I mean, we're always open to ideas, and that's one of the great things about the ITBA is we're made up of a wide variety, again, a cross-section of Ireland. We're small breeders, big breeders, and we're also open to ideas from everybody. I mean, we'd love to have a bottomless pit of money to be able to spend on all of these ideas, but we have to think outside the box, and we have to become creative to try and make the best deal that we can for Irish breeders.
And of course, Cathy, you have different seminars throughout the country with so many different people from all the different cross sections of the industry as well that take part in that. And a lot of breeders and people who are even thinking about getting into the breeding industry, they come to look at these seminars.
Well, it's great. We had an amazingly successful National Hunt seminar late last year, and that attracted huge interest from the National Hunt sector. We've had a pinhooking seminar for the next generation, and it was incredible turnout, and it was amazing to see how many young people are so interested in getting involved in our industry. And then just recently we had a breeding preparation for the season seminar, and there was a huge turnout as well. And I think as well the provision of online courses, being able to allow people to zoom in so that we can accommodate breeders who mightn't be able to travel. That's been a huge tool for us, because it's allowed people to access these courses and these seminars who mightn't otherwise be able to get there. So I think that's been definitely an improvement on that front.
Well, continued success, onwards and upwards. Well done your first year as being chairwoman.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, of course, of the ITBA
I
as
don't
well.
mind, Chairman, I'm okay.
Kathy, well done on what's been another fantastic night.
Thank you, Gavin.
Now, I have to say I've rarely looked forward to an award as much as I am to this one. Cathy Grassick and Minister Charlie McConalogue will present one of the most coveted accolades in our industry. On your table, you'll see a full list of past inductees to the ITBA's Hall of Fame, and it truly is a who's who of the industry. What can I say about the new name on this impressive roll of honour? He is a doer, a giver, and never a taker. He has no ego, he is genuine. What you see is what you get. He's a deep thinker, a man who gets things done. He has made the world of difference. And oh yes, I can call him a friend. Please be upstanding for William Flood.
I suppose I'd ask you I hope you appreciate how deeply respected you are in the business, how indebted the business is to you. And I think that comes out in that piece. But just take me back in time. Was there ever any other path for you other than to follow your dad into Boards Mill? And I know from private conversations with you, he was definitely your first hero.
Yes. Well, if I could go back to 3 or 4 weeks ago when I learned I was getting this award, I nearly collapsed because it wasn't what I was looking for. And in the meantime, I've been thinking about life and thinking about what has happened over the years. And at the same time, I was saying if I can do half as much in the next 20 years as I've done in the last 30 years, I wouldn't be going too bad. But
Dad was definitely...
Yeah, no, the one thing I would have to say is my dad is the basic instigator of everything I did. And he didn't have an easy life himself, but he was a genuine farmer, farming stock, who loved his horses and managed to get a living out of it without any side income. And he certainly gave me something that I'm happy to hope I have, and that was integrity, honesty, and dealing with people in a fair way. Not that I can be pushed over now, but I like to play a fair game.
I'm thinking back to days when I used to sit down with you, my poor student days of being in the industry, helping you with the stud cards, putting the information together long before we could access Weatherby's or computers or whatever, which was great fun. And I'll have to say that word integrity is at the heart, I think, of everything you do and everything I've ever seen you do. And I just often wonder, do you spend any time thinking of anything else other than the business, whether it's Boards Mill or whether it's the greater business?
Well, not too much, but at the same time, I have to thank my father for wherever I've sort of finished up or carried on. He certainly was the inspiration to me on the basis that, without dwelling on it, but myself and my sister, Nolene, who's here tonight, our mum died when I was 3, and she was 1.5. And Dad looked after us perfectly well and looked after his entire family very well. And he instilled into me sort of the good and the bad and what not to do and to do. But I always remember it, and if I have a decision to make sometimes, even over many years. I would always say, would my dad have liked that, or which way would he have decided I should go? And it has been an influence. And I was lucky then after that, in that when his time went and he passed away, I was lucky to, luckily, fall across my darling wife, Barbara. And she has been equally as important in the last number of years as well, where it left me with the time, but I'd never looked on doing any of these things I heard about tonight. It was just a way of life, unlike what younger people have got to deal with today, where they have a 5-day week to do, and then they have to go home and mind the kids for the weekend, and they haven't got a minute to themselves. But I was blessed between Dad and Barbara to be able to give that extra bit of time to doing things that I thought was normal. It was just a way of life. It wasn't anything other than that. And I must say I enjoyed every minute of it. And, you know, I've had very good friends telling me at different stages. I mean, it's not good it doesn't flow easy for everybody all the time. But I remember at times when things might have got a little bit tough now and again, I'd have had people coming to me and saying, would you not be better off at home on your farm than arsing around these organisations, you know? And I would have thought about it, but I wouldn't have thought too much about it. But on reflection, I don't think I missed out. I think I gained from doing what I did, you know, and got great pleasure and satisfaction out of it.
Well, you've certainly built lots of friendships and as I say, the respect of the industry. You've been involved in many facets of the industry. Is there any one thing in either the breeding side or the racing side that you sit down and comes to mind as being maybe your proudest moment, your greatest achievement, the thing you've got most pleasure from?
I suppose you mentioned it earlier, it was nice to get the National Hunt Fillies allowance at the time, and David Pym was senior steward at the time, and I don't know, he didn't take maybe that much influence, but it was done at the time anyway, and we'll have to thank him for that. And again, the more recent thing is the Fillies bonus scheme, which is again a help and been very well received. But equally, I've enjoyed everything else. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy life. I've enjoyed my course, as the chairman of Navan has said to you there. Navan has been a big part of my life as well, but so has everything else. I mean, HRI, it was a pleasure at the time, particularly on the committees, programming, fixtures, pattern and all that jazz. Turf Club, the same. National Hunt, stewarding end of it. ITBA, not forgetting the ITBA. I just enjoyed everything, and what I always found was, and there could be flip-overs, but when you're at a meeting of the ITBA, National Hunt, whatever, Fillies, or whether you with Navan, but you had to deal and give your views from that body's perspective at the time, even though it might have had negative effects for some of your other interests, but you had to do what you felt was best for the board and the committee you were sitting on at the time. And
well, I suppose that's where integrity comes in again, that you have to be clear in your head how you're working.
Well, yeah, you know, but I mean, it's nice. You can only sleep in one bed at night, and if you sleep in one bed and you can go to sleep without anything annoying you, I mean, that's fine.
Well, I know that your family means the world to you. You've worked with lots of great people. I mean, again, it would be, as Princess Zahra said, like picking your favourite children. But are there people that you've enjoyed working with more than others? Or we won't ask you about the people you didn't enjoy working with so much.
Well, very, very few. You might have the odd difference now and again, but on that basis, I couldn't mention names because I've come across some tremendous people in all bodies. But if I could just mention two people who hopefully might be listening in tonight, and that is, and they were both Irish National Hunt Committee people, is John Powell down in Nina, and the other is Leslie Crawford up in Antrim. And I would just like to acknowledge them as being very good people to be involved in. Now look, I could mention plenty of others, starting with Jimmy Owens here. I see Richard Little over there, who's a manager in Navan. I could go through oodles of people, but I'd only embarrass someone else or offend someone if I didn't mention them. So I'm not going to mention anyone else. But from my perspective, it was all about the people that were around me in committees. Even if I happened to be chairman of this, that, or the other, it was a consensus, and 2 heads is always better than 1, and 3 heads is better than 2. So that was my principle of getting a handle on things, and I'll take it from here.
Well, I've worked with you on a number of issues. You were always methodical, well prepared. You never, give an off-the-cuff decision. You are a deep thinker, as I said. You're a friend. You're a most worthy recipient of the Hall of Fame, our 27th inductee to the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, William Flood. Highnesses, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing more to say now except congratulate our 27th inductee, with the formal part of the evening now done and dusted. Shortly you'll be able to dance the night away to DJ Stuart Quinn. Afterwards, definitely go to the Residence Bar to Mark Wynn, and we'll see you there. For now, it's just for me to say well done to all our award winners, a thank you to all our sponsors, and wish you all a safe, healthy and happy 2023. Good night and keep winning.
Subscribe to Racing TV's YouTube channel now to watch more great races like this.